What up? I'm Chet Popelka. This is the Braves TomaBlog. I'm late on this video again. I am so sorry. This is the video that I said that I was going to release last Monday that the audio didn't work on. I'm identifying 6 prospects in the Braves farm system who are having great seasons flying under the radar. Now, here's the thing. This was actually written 2 weeks ago. The big guys, Dansby, Ozzie, Newcomb, Blair, Allard, you guys already know about those guys. I want to tell you about the guys that you don't know about or that you maybe already do know a little bit about but are still maintaining very low profiles. So I'm dedicating this video to those guys. Let's get into the 6 prospects that I've identified that aren't getting the due credit for their top-notch seasons. Here's the thing about the 2 weeks ago, is that I identified 6 players. Really, I identified about 10 players and I narrowed it down. Since then, 2 weeks ago, 2 of the guys that I originally identified have made their debut, including one who made this list, so they're not quite as under the radar as they were when these players were identified. We'll just have to deal with that. Bear with me, guys. My schedule's been crazy. I've been moving. Number 1, AJ Minter. You guys have probably already heard of AJ Minter. He started being brought up a few weeks ago after he was identified as having a great season by the guys on the Braves broadcast. He was brought up by Capella in an interview. Why? Because he's dominating. AJ Minter was taken in the 2nd round as the 75th overall pick in the 2015 draft. He's a left-hander from Texas A&M. There aren't that many left-handed people in America. Most of them pitch for the Atlanta Braves. This is Minter's first professional season. At Mississippi, he has a 1.04 ERA. He has a 0.46 WHIP. He's played across 3 levels. He's been used as a reliever. He hadn't given up a run this year prior to reaching AA. You can expect to see him in the bullpen in 2017 with Mauricio Cabrera and Arodys Vizcaíno and Hunter Cervenka and, that whole squad. Number 2, Mike Soroka. I can already hear your comments saying that Soroka really isn't that underrated. He's rated number 6 on MLB.com. Look, I know that now, but I wrote this 2 weeks ago, so tell us 2 weeks ago, Chet. You've heard of Mike Soroka. He was the Canadian kid that we took 28th overall in the 2015 draft. If you haven't heard of him, it's because you overlooked him and you were looking at the Colby Allard pick, and why shouldn't you? Colby Allard was a great pick. But Soroka's been better. He pitched well at the end of last year and he impressed everyone. He came out in 2016 and he pitched great. In 18 starts and 104 innings at Rome, he has a 3.35 ERA. It's actually a bit high considering he has a 3.12 average on balls in play. So if he had guys like Malix, Ender, Ozzie and Dansby playing behind him, his ERA would likely be better. The best part about Soroka, though, is that he's 18 years old, so he has time to struggle at Mississippi and Gwinnett and in the majors, get injured, do all those things, see the world. Maybe just the Southeast. He's from Canada. Seeing Rome, Georgia is seeing the world. Soroka is our best combination of high-ceiling talent and production to this point. Number 3, Max Povse. Max Povse was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2014 draft, which means that he's a Frank Wren kid, which means he's really beating the odds making this list. He battled some injuries last year, and who doesn't? But then he came back in 2016 and he's pitched really well thus far. He had a midseason promotion to Mississippi, and in 4 starts he had a 2.59 ERA. He has a 0.9 WHIP at Mississippi and a 1.15 WHIP on the year. So I get it, you're still wondering who is Max Povse and is that really how you pronounce his name? Well, you're not alone. He was drafted out of UNC Greensboro because I assume he didn't have the grades for Chapel Hill. The most significant thing about him was his 6'8" frame. Is his 6'8" frame. So he has a great downhill fastball that's rated as 60 grade by MLB.com. So his best attribute is that he doesn't allow hard contact. He's allowed 9 home runs in 235 professional innings. Barring any type of AJ Minter type year, he's probably 2 years away from the majors, but given how he doesn't allow a lot of base runners like Sean Newcomb does, and he doesn't allow hard contact like Matt Whistler does, he could be a very nice change of pace for the Braves. Number 4, Rob Whalen. It doesn't seem right because Rob Whalen isn't viewed as a super high ceiling guy, but he's dominating the minor leagues right now. Could that digress? Sure, but he's really house money considering that we got him for 2 rentals at the end of last season. Rob Whalen got promoted to AAA recently, and it's really exciting to see that he's pretty much the only Braves player to get promoted to AAA and not get wrecked. He's actually been better, and the best part is that you don't see a huge change in the numbers from AA to AAA. You actually just see slight improvement with time, and that's a great thing to see. Hey, I know you know that all that was wrong because that was all what I wrote 2 weeks ago. But, as you probably know, Rob Whalen had his Major League debut last week, and he won. And then, today, as I'm shooting this, he had his 2nd start, and he pitched really well against Milwaukee. I'm sorry guys, bear with me, just tech issues and moving and work, and it's getting to me. I need a minute. But as I said, Whalen doesn't have a remarkably high ceiling. He's getting it done with a 60 grade curveball. He has always seemed destined for the bullpen, and in fact 2 weeks ago I wrote he's destined for the bullpen, and that's pretty much inevitable, but you can't wait to see him out of the 6th inning. But I think it is possible for him to pitch his way into the rotation. Number 5. Pfiefer. Once again, this was a steal for Bud Norris. The biggest catch on Pfiefer is that he's 24 years old. He was one of those Vanderbilt pitchers taken in the 2015 draft. Aw, him and Dansby are teammates again. The Braves put him straight in the bullpen at Mississippi, and as you've probably been able to tell from this video, that Mississippi bullpen is just killing it right now. Pfiefer has a 2.57 ERA, his Ks per 9 are up, his walks per 9 are down. I think it's fair to say that we'll see him make a 2017 debut in the bullpen, and isn't he going to be a great front-end bullpen piece? Number 6. Dustin Peterson. Yes, I saved the one hitter for last. You've heard a little bit about Dustin Peterson because he's been the best hitter in the Braves farm system this year. And he gets a spot on this list because no one is raving about Dustin Peterson's ceiling. He doesn't have the tools that Ozzie or Dansby or even the Travis Demeritte have. But he does have power, and he's shown this year that he can be an all-around good hitter. His slash line reads 298, 355, 450 with 8 home runs and impressively 70 RBIs. His weighted runs created is 132. That's one of the statistics that's created to have an average of 100. What that means is that Dustin Peterson is doing as good of a job as anyone in the organization of creating runs. He's not likely a long-term everyday player, or if he is, he'll have to prove that he is the way an Omar Infante or Martin Prado did. If not, he'll be a great outfielder to come off the bench, he'll be a great pinch hitter and a great run producer. You know, the issue is that we already have an outfield jam of Malix and Ciarte, Kemp, and Markakis, and then you could throw this guy into the mix as well. Now, you know, who's really to say how anything plays out in the Braves system? The thing to notice from this list is that it is 5 pitchers and 1 hitter. The thing that got me going was seeing these great statistics coming from our relievers. I hear a lot and have said a lot that the next good Braves team is going to be built a lot like the Kansas City Royals teams have been built, where they don't have a lot of power, and they don't produce a lot of runs, and they don't even have great starting pitching. They have a good offensive core, they produce some runs, and they get to the 7th inning, and then the game's just over. There's nothing better to ease the burden off of these young starting pitchers who are being asked to be the next generation of great Braves pitchers than a collection of outstanding young relievers who can take them out of the game and still get a win if they can't get out of the 5th inning. That's one positive. The other is the increased value of middle relief in Major League Baseball. You guys have seen what teams are willing to part with in order to get good middle relief help. And the Braves have more of that on the way than anyone could ever fathom. So don't be shocked if in years to come, if the Braves are ever trailing behind Washington or New York or Philadelphia, if the Braves are willing to part with a great closer that they have because a team is willing to give them a haul for it. The Pirates do it all the time. The Yankees just did it. A good bullpen is the gift that keeps on paying you. I asked you guys to guess who the 6 guys were that are having great seasons under the radar, and a lot of you nailed it, and you got a lot of the guys right. If I missed anyone, tell me in the comments who's having a great season, who's flying under the radar in the Braves farm system. This is the Braves TomaBlog. It's a YouTube channel dedicated to talking about the Braves and baseball in general. If that sounds interesting to you, please click on the channel, give it a look. I promise you won't be disappointed. I hope you enjoyed, and go Braves!